This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klouse. Let's get started.
If anyone can talk a Balgarth out of a fight, it's you.
If anyone can keep us alive, it's you.
But if you ask me what my calling would be, I'd say that of a defender of my friends.
You don't need to change anything.
I would give my life to see them through.
I apparently only get into trouble when I'm around you lot.
I never want to have that kind of power over somebody.
She lands upon the deck, but just on her toes, like a dancer, like a ballet dancer, as if the weight of sin has yet to fall on her shoulders.
In the light of nature will be brought to them.
We haven't done this before. Does that make us professional?
That would make you amateurs at best.
At best, I like that.
I've had a hard time finding answers in my life.
I'm glad I'm here too.
Where are you from, Ezekiel?
Wherever your wife goes when she dreams, and I'll walk away.
Fuck you and fuck your will.
There's no redemption for the likes of you.
You were never loved as a child.
How do you want to do this? So, previously, Chapter 23, The Devil's Cut. As the Bronze Scales make their way on their long pilgrimage to the holy city of Nymunet, they have stopped in the War Kingdom of Westrin, after aiding in recovering fire salts and disrupting the nefarious actions of some sort of cult. In the Shadow of Nor, the Scales did some research as Kalvyn began to solidify his glory and virtues. Meli, on her way to work under an arcane scholar at Novikov, met up with the group. During this reunion, a strange black cat appeared, looking for what it called the Nether. After some heated discussion, the party decided to complete Ellory's job and deliver the dense spheres to the two tieflings in the Devil's Cut. With that ugly business completed, some of the group took to celebrating Meli's return with food and drink. Ezekiel, however, took to the forest running as a wolf in nature, where he stumbled upon a bone and blood-filled shrine to Duma, the goddess of the hunt and curses. The next day, you've asked around about the Shadow Lynx and have done some shopping and gearing up, where we come back to you this morning. Noon is maybe an hour or so away, as you are gathering into the trade district, some of you finishing up some shopping, some of you finishing up asking around about the Shadow Lynx. What would you like to do?
Can we assume that we updated each other with the information that was learned, at least in terms of the lycanthropy and the bow and arrow, so that we all know that?
So I think the big things that we learned was that it is humanoid, has a bow and arrow that is capable of shooting, is open to being baited, but that usually ends up terribly, can shadow teleport like Eliza could, seemingly is able to turn invisible whenever, worships Duma, therefore is incredibly dangerous, and possibly a lycanthrope of some sort. I think that's everything.
I got a couple extra. I don't know if we already got this, but its hunting grounds is marked by 3 diagonal claw marks, and that the bites become infected. That's part of the lycanthropy thing, but it was mentioned.
Okay.
Alright. Well, if the legends hold true, we should get some silver, I suppose. For anyone that is inclined to use a weapon. I think if it's enchanted, it might do the same. Vesper, your rapier, I believe, may still be fine, but I'm not sure.
Hopefully.
But, Ball, what do you say about us seeing about getting you the biggest silver smashy thing that we can?
That would be nice.
Alright.
I don't have any silver on my sword. Shines, though, but not with silver.
And, one last thing before we go, we should probably also pick up a couple of healing potions for those of us who do not have healing immediately on hand, just in case we might need it.
I have several potions. If you give me a moment, I can redistribute them.
Oh, okay.
So, I have the gold from selling those emerald earrings. I don't know if we want to spend that now or divide it up or maybe save it for buying diamonds if we need them later. I hope we don't.
It may be good to have a bank. One person able to see invisibility may not turn the tide, and it'll make a difference.
I have 6 healing potions. 2 of them are they're all standard. 2 of them are regular size, and I have 4 that are especially concentrated. Doesn't take as long to down them. They're the ones that Lysander gave me. Essentially, it's a bonus action to drink them. So I have 4 of those, and then I have 2 regular healing potions.
I guess I'll take 1 regular one, the normal one, since I don't have any right now.
Yeah, I'll take a bonus action one if I could. So it's the regular 2d4, it's just a bonus action one.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's one to spare, I wouldn't mind having one on me, but I do tend to have a lot of ways to heal others as well, so I should be the last priority.
Right. Kalvyn, do you want any?
I'm kind of in the same boat as Zeke.
Meli?
I'm okay, I have a healing potion.
And Ellory?
I have one left over too.
Okay. So I've still got 4. And I'm going to show everybody where I'm putting them back, in case something happens to me.
Well, if you all want to go grab, see if you can find a weapon for Ball, there's something else I want to pick up before we do this. I can meet you at the gate on the west side of the city. I think that's where the hunting grounds are. At least it's where I found that shrine.
All right.
Okay. So is everyone going to go see about their weapons? And is Ezekiel alone going somewhere else?
If my rapier's fine, I'll go with Zeke.
I'm basically just trailing along with whoever.
It's fine.
Okay. So some of you go to see about weapons. You find the area of town where you can get things smithed and worked on. You actually find a lot of that is less in the trade district and more in the stone flank district. Seems like heavy military presence and a decent amount of forges. Talking to a few smiths, you find out there are 2 options. You can silver a curtain sword. It's cheaper. They can probably do it in a couple hours, but wear and tear will eventually knock that silver off. But it is relatively cheap. It would probably be about 10% of the cost of the regular weapon. So a greatsword would be 5 gold to silver it. They do have a few options for silvered weapons that are like steel mixed with silver and then silver on the top as well that are going to remain silvered for a lot longer. Those are a bit more expensive, about 150% of the normal price. So for Ball, just specifically, it'd be 5 gold to silver your weapon. It'd take a couple hours. Or they do have a greatsword available that's 75 gold pieces that's silvered and is going to be more durable.
I think Ball's planning on replacing his weapon sooner rather than later anyway. So I'll probably just ask to get it silvered for 5 gold.
Okay. They say they can probably do it in about 2 to 3 hours.
What about silver javelins?
They can also silver javelins. Because they just have to silver the tip, I'd say that'd be about a silver.
I don't have any javelins either, so I'd have to pick them up.
Okay. So it'd be about a gold a javelin. A silver javelin will be 1 gold.
Okay, I'll pick up 3.
Ball will do the same.
All right, so 3 at 1 gold each. And balls will be 5 gold in a couple hours. Any other weapons you're working on or seeing about? Okay. Waiting on that, we could hop back to Ezekiel and Vesper, who have headed west towards the west side of town. What are you guys up to?
I'm looking for a place to buy a map of the INL continent.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
Sure.
I can assist with that.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm kind of terrible. That's a 9. With you, that's a natural 20.
Okay. So you happen upon a gentleman. You're asking around outside of a pub, just trying to get directions to a map maker. There are none that people know of, but a gentleman overhears you in the tavern and takes his backpack off his back and has numerous papers rolled up in protective cases, who happens to be a cartographer. So he can sell you a very detailed map of the eye now for 1 gold.
I will happily take it.
Okay. You see it's mostly topographical, geographical in nature. Not a whole lot of cities, but there are some of the major cities are marked.
That's fine. That'll work.
Okay, you have it. Anything else for you guys as you're just waiting for the silvering process to complete?
I think I'm good.
All right, so a few hours pass. You get your map as the rest of you eventually pick up Ball's weapon and make your way towards the west side of the city through the outer sink, which is sort of the dilapidated, poor area of town past Hangman's where the Devil's Cut was, and towards that bridge where you all use Ball as a big gathering banner and find each other. It's probably about 2 or 3 in the afternoon at this point. Plenty of daylight.
So what is our goal today?
Well, I don't know. I'd like to just find a good spot, try and set up some kind of way to bait the animal in. I think I have an idea. Alternatively, we could, I don't know, attempt to get a sight on it tonight without engaging, but I think anytime we see it, it's going to see us, and I'd rather underestimate us than be prepared.
My concern, though, is if it uses shadows so effectively, we'll probably want to fight it in the day, not in the night, when it has more darkness in which to hide.
As I was told, it doesn't come out in the day. Who has lanterns of some kind?
I have the one. I still have it on my backpack, and I have another one that I can make.
I can cast light.
I can cast light. My idea would be that if we're going to draw it in, and I think I can. We'll see if it's bold enough to approach when we are well lit. Make a big old campfire. Try and get as much cover as we can. A dense tree area, maybe even a cave. I don't know if we could lure it in there, but somewhere where maybe it can't pepper us with arrows and take us all out before we know it's there.
Similar to the approach we took with the Valrin that first night we went hunting?
Yeah, similar to that. It's most dangerous if it's out of our range and we can't see it. If we force it to have to get close and keep a dense ring of light, maybe it can't use the shadows quite so close to us.
We're gonna try to lure it towards us. Would it work trying to trap it somehow?
Perhaps. Duma is the enemy of my god. I think I might be able to draw it with a challenge, similar to how I made a statement when I left your home. If I can do that, it might egg it on enough to want to come after us. If you can think of a way to trap it, unfortunately that's somewhat out of my... I might be able to build something, but depends on what we have. I don't know. There's not enough time to make a pit trap. I may, if it is a were creature, as they say, be able to make it turn back into what it used to be.
That would work too. I was thinking something that would maybe hold it in place for a good minute, maybe get everybody an opportunity to slap on it. But I had a thought and I lost it. Don't look at me for a minute.
I turn around.
I stare at him.
Well, does anyone want my other lantern?
Meli, do you need a light source? It's been a while. I'm not sure exactly what new powers you have at your disposal.
I can cast something light on the attention.
I figured it out. All right. So why would there be a time restraint on this? Is what I was trying to getting to. This thing's been around for a while. I know we gotta leave or our boat takes off in a couple days, but we might have a little bit of time to construct something.
That's a fair point. I guess we don't have to try and take care of this tonight.
Does it come out every night?
Not sure. I imagine if I try and draw it in, I did destroy one of its shrines last night. So I was figuring I'd start there, as getting the area. It might be upset. I'm a little, now that I'm thinking about it, may have made it angry and thus possibly hunting tonight.
Ezekiel, how long did it take for you to get to that area where you found that shrine?
I don't know, God?
It took you maybe a couple hours. If you went straight in that direction, maybe an hour and a half.
That.
Right? So it shouldn't take us too long to get there, which means we don't have to worry too much about cutting it close with the boat if we decide to set something up for the next night, if we're able to afford that.
Yeah, maybe we just... Oh, go ahead, Vesper.
Oh, sorry, I was just thinking we should probably at least look at the area, though. Scope something out right now while it's at our disposal.
Yeah, maybe during the day. We can look at that shrine during the day, maybe see if there's any other evidence we can find, or see if it possibly visited it after me.
If it leaves tracks, maybe we can hunt it early in the day, while the tracks are fresh. Find its lair when it is resting.
It's true. Well, I'll lead the way to the shrine. I think I can remember.
As we go into the woods, though, I'm going to use my boots and change my footprints to, like, deer prints.
Before we leave the bridge, I'm just going to take a moment to look out towards the sea and just touch the little makeshift holy symbol in my pocket.
Okay. So as Vesper's tracks change and as the salty seas roll in, you begin following Ezekiel into the woods. Ezekiel, go ahead and give me a survival check.
Is 11, not my greatest.
Okay. So you've been here before, but you were running just instinctually in your wolf form. So in your human form, it's kind of hard to remember the smells and the path you took. You go in that direction. You head northwest from the bridge and head in that general direction. Quickly, the forest envelops you. A lot of evergreen pines, some underbrush. The roots are thick and kind of almost explode out from the ground. It seems very hard and compacted. About an hour or so, you get to where the terrain becomes more rocky, and you start seeing boulders and such. Smaller at first, kind of jutting out. And what's the marching order here?
I assume I'm leading.
Okay, Ezekiel up front.
I'm probably towards the back.
Yeah, I'm near the back as well.
I'll be in front of Vesper.
I think Ball will be closer to the back too, because I'm slower.
And I'll be up there with Zeke.
I'll just be somewhere in the middle.
As we're walking, I will pull out the map that I bought earlier. Amsen, can I borrow a quill or a pen? I don't know what exists in this time and semi-magical world.
Sure, just a moment. And I'll drop my pack, take out a quill and inkwell, and give it to him.
So I'm going to find on the map where my grove is and just kind of put a circle there. It occurred to me today, may not be today, it may not be ever, but we are involved in rather dangerous work, and whereas you all can probably get your remains or at least word to your respective families, none of you know where I'm from. So, I'm going to just hand the map to Ellory. I've marked a wood on this. It's where I've stayed. If anything should happen to me, just take word there, and I'll give them, some kind of tree to look for that I have not established to help them find this vague location. If you're looking lost, we usually have wanderers in the forest. Someone might find you. The squirrel friend you met earlier, Stormbringer, he may recognize you. He wanders around there. And if you could, and I'll just pull out the map, if there's a chance to grab this and take it with you, just to hand it over and apologize for me.
Maybe as you start to finish talking, Paul will step up and say, none of us plan on losing you today. There's nothing to be worried about.
I appreciate that. It's more for the long run. I think I'm going to be, you all still willing, traveling with you for a while, and things happen.
Well, I hope We won't need to, but I will do as you ask. It comes to it.
We might all need to make plans, just in case. It is a long journey. It doesn't have to be right this second, but at some point we should have that conversation.
Of course. Let's focus on the road then.
All
Well,
right.
I will stash that away for now.
Okay. And Ezekiel is also able to tell you about the trees. Witherwood does. The trees are almost always in a state of autumn, so they're always yellows and oranges and reds. So that's kind of a tell you're in the right area. But as you're telling them this, stowing it away, everyone give me perception checks.
22 for Vesper.
17 for Ellory.
22 for Ezekiel.
For once, I got a dirty 20.
I got a nat 20.
Okay. So all of you hear a noise up ahead. You hear sort of the crunch. As you hear something running quickly to the left of you. You don't see anything, but you can hear it's maybe 30 feet beyond the trees. Meli, you do catch something. The blur of something. Meli, Amsen, and Vesper, the three of you do catch the blur of something going sort of to the left. Dark, quick, large, maybe Ezekiel's height, maybe Kalvyn's, and it's moving very quickly.
Can I toll the dead on it? Is it close enough?
It's too quick.
I'm prepping a firebolt in case anything attacks.
I think Ball will draw his blade and just kind of like with his back to the party, making sure that nothing surprises us.
Can I look around? Are there any animals around it? Like birds, chirps, anything?
Make a perception check again? Yeah. You just now realize for the past 15 minutes or so, you haven't heard any birds chirping, any squirrels moving, bugs. You haven't heard anything.
Fuck. Alright, there's something bad here. I don't know if it's what we're after, but it's bad.
I'm going to stand next to Ball. Everyone get in a circle. Keep your backs facing each other so it can't catch us off guard from any direction.
I'm going to cast Jump on myself.
Okay.
I'm going to cast Invisibility on myself.
I'm going to cast Aid on Meli, Kalvyn, and Ellory.
I'm going to make sure my holy symbol is out and on my chest. And I will say, alright, you cursed bastard. Where are you?
Give me an intimidation check.
Natural 20, 22.
You hear the scraping of feet against the dirt below. To your left. And you suddenly hear something running directly in your direction from the left. Everyone go ahead and roll initiative. Oh, early, guys.
Oh, so bad.
I did a good.
Okay.
I hate that it's on this black die, but it's still.
Yeah, you did do good.
Isn't that the one you roll when someone dies?
Yeah, it's the cursed one. It's rolling really well tonight.
Great. Really happy that I put the map. I did decide to do the map on the trip. I was going to wait until we were like chilling. It's going to be.
Yeah.
I rolled well. It was mostly on a 17, but it was cocked, so I rolled it again, and it rolled a 2.
Yeah.
What's the dex scores for Kalvyn and Meli?
I have a 12 with a +1 bonus.
I think Meli's is higher than that. We'll find out. You're going first, so we have time. So I'm going to move you over to the map, and just, you're kind of in the order, the original marching order. Y'all said y'all moved into a circle, so you do have, quickly you're able to move. So if you want to move into a circle formation, within a couple feet, go ahead and do that now. First off, I'm going to get this in the initiative, and Vesper, you're actually up front. You hear the noise from the left moving towards you rapidly. The snarling.
I'm going to
with haste.
prep a Bane. I'm going to prepare that spell and hold it until it comes within sight.
Okay. So you can hear it coming towards you. You prep the spell as it's running, and in that case, as you're all looking to the left, hearing something sprinting in your direction, you suddenly hear as something leaps over the bushes, coming off from behind the tree to your right. You spin to see it there. You see something hulking, maybe 6'5", and it's hunched over, shortening it to some degree as it leaps over and sprints directly to you, towards the closest one to it. Getting right up to Ellory, it immediately raises a claw to bring down upon you, and that is a 18 to hit.
Yes, that hits.
Take 5 slashing damage. As it rakes its massive black claws across you, you see this werewolf form. This snarling wolf head on this fur of black, matted, wet. Wolf form on 2 legs. As it claws back and you are pushed backwards, it sinks its teeth towards you. That is a 18 to hit again.
Yep.
Dealing 6 piercing damage as it drives its teeth into your neck. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that's good. That is 24.
Okay. You feel the pain of the teeth, but you also feel a strange coolness to its bite as it rips part of your shoulder out. The blood goes spraying. That will bring us up to Meli. Okay, so we'll hold on Meli till she gets back. That'll bring us up to Kalvyn.
Well, seeing Ellory in distress, I will move in to engage. I'll run up there, and I'm just going to attack it. I'm not going to do anything special right now. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Alright, I'm going to attack it. I'm going to just run up and stab it twice with my spear. That's pretty good. That's a 25.
Oh, absolutely.
And then 13.
13 hits as well. So the first strike, a powerful thrust as you drive it through, quickly pulling back and driving for another strike into its leg. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay, I'm going to dump a smite into this. Just a level 1. It's not undead.
No, it's not.
God. That's 30 piercing damage.
Remembering your training, you remember Warden Markov going over the lycanthropes. You don't remember much, but you remember you got to hit him and hit him hard. And you've done just that. You quickly 2 strikes into it, pushing it back just a little bit. The blood begins pouring out of its stomach. You hear it howl and snarl. And in this close area, Ball, Ellory, and Kalvyn, you see across its chest these 3 diagonal claw marks.
Okay, and then that's crazy. I'm going to use my bonus action to shove it to the ground.
Okay, so pulling back your spear, spinning your shoulder, and shield into it.
I did not roll well. It's a 16.
It didn't roll well either. 13, 15. So you slam into it and almost keeps its footing, but you drive it up, picking it up on top of your shield for just a couple inches as it falls down to the ground on its back. And as you spin, preparing for the next wave, Meli? Is Meli back? Okay, so that will move on to this character.
Bane. It came within my range.
Okay. So, holding the spell of Bane, releasing it now, specifically that one?
Yes, the one that's running at us, the red one.
Okay, you need to make a save?
It needs to make a charisma saving throw.
Can't you target more than one with Bane?
Oh, up to 3 creatures. Hell yeah. Well. So I'll get both of them then.
Okay.
But I wanted this one close enough that I could also target it.
Up to 3. So you can definitely hit him. That one, he rolls a natural 16, so 17 on the one that is now charging. The one that's on his back didn't roll great. That is a 10.
Yeah, okay, well that one's affected.
Okay. So the one on its back as you release this spell is currently baned. The other one that appears jumping around the rock and sprinting down in your direction sprints, leaps over the fallen log, just skidding to the ground next to Ezekiel. Using that momentum is going to go ahead and go for a strike. You see this one is a bit taller, a bit broader shouldered, and doesn't have dark black fur, but has almost grayish white fur. Its head isn't of a wolf, but it's wide and blocky skull of a bear. As it comes down towards Ezekiel. Natural 20.
Yeah.
I would like to use my reaction to use cutting words on the damage roll.
Okay.
Against Ezekiel.
So 15 slashing damage is its normal.
And it takes off 3.
Okay.
I'll take it.
So as it's coming down, it uses the momentum to slam into you. At that moment, Ezekiel, Amsen quickly says something to distract it momentarily, just to give you half a millisecond extra to move your throat out of the way as it digs along your chest and shoulder. As it lands, it quickly spins, and with its other claw, that is a 10. It swipes as you quickly move back just quick enough for the claws to scrape across your armor, the chitinous armor. And that will bring us up to the next person. Is Meli back?
I'm back.
Okay, so Meli, go ahead and take your turn now.
Okay. I'm gonna run across the one that just hit Ezekiel.
Okay, you see a large man-bear creature, furred and white. Is that an attack roll or a save?
It's an attack roll.
Okay.
Not natural 20?
Yeah, that definitely hits.
That's 9 points of damage to it.
Okay. So quickly conjuring up frost from your hands, you quickly release it. As the frost comes across the air, slamming into it, it briefly turns its head towards you, growling in your direction. And that will bring us up to the next character, which is the one sprinting far from the left, flanking almost as a distraction, but it is moving, and is going to kind of come up and around and just sprinting, jumping over bushes, sliding around trees, coming up and around, trying to surround you. That's all it can do there. And then this one is going to go. Ellory, you will be on deck, as this one is going to sprint towards Kalvyn. The first claw is a 21 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. And the bite afterwards is going to be a 19 to hit.
Cool. That definitely, yep,
What is your AC? I know it's getting up there now.
It's 18. I need to find something better.
So you take 6 slashing damage from the claws as it rakes across you. And then as it bites, it tries to bite into you, dealing 10 piercing damage, and make a constitution saving throw.
13.
Okay. You feel the pain similar to the claws, but you also feel a strange coolness. You shake it off, and kind of your vision unblurs as you see another black matted fur werewolf in front of you, just next to the one that's on its back. And that will bring us up to Ellory.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is cast Shocking Grasp on the one that attacked me.
It's prone, right? So it's with advantage?
Yeah, the one on its back. It's trying to get to its feet.
So that's 21 to hit.
Without a doubt. As the lightning flows through your fingers, slamming into it on the ground.
For 6 damage.
As lightning runs through, singeing its fur. You see this one is starting to look rough already.
And then I'll 5-foot shift back into the center of the circle then.
Okay, taking a step back, it tries to almost kick at you, but it's just convulsing on the ground instead. And that will bring us up to Amsen.
Awesome. So I'll move back kind of in the middle of Vesper, Meli, and Ellory. And I'll look over Ellory's shoulder, I guess, because I can do that. And cast Fairy Fire on the 2 creatures next to Kalvyn. So they both make dex saves.
So that is actually a disadvantage. A 5 for the one on the ground, and a 16 for the standing one.
So the 16 saves, but the other one does not. I am no longer invisible since I cast a spell. And That one is outlined in fire.
Okay. So as Amsen invisibility brushes by Meli and Vesper, you turn over, reaching your hand over Ellory's shoulder, seeing these purple flames glittering upon them. The standing one ducks and swipes his hand away, pushing the dust and fire away. The other one on its back, still convulsing from the lightning, shakes but isn't able to shake off the now glittering purple flames.
I'm going to use my inspiration, another point of inspiration, and I'm going to inspire Kalvyn, and I would like to sing to him. I'd like to make you all believe that Kalvyn is quite mighty. It's clear to say he'd rather give his life when we're all beat. But Kalvyn, he is always at the scene when we're in need.
Kalvyn, you hear this song as you stand against two werewolves, bolstering your motivation to fight. And I believe that will bring us to Ball.
All right. Seeing this thing in front of me in such a compromised position, I am going to cast Phoenix Blade and try to swing at it with my silvered steel greatsword.
Okay, and you have advantage on the strike as he's on the ground and covered in fire. Purple flames of glitter. Yeah, you definitely hit.
All right, so that will be 8 slashing and 8 fire, and then 8 fire to the one beside it. And I'm going to also put 1 point of, or cast, what's it called? Smite, level 1 smite as well onto the one that's on the ground.
Okay.
For 10 radiant damage.
Yeah, so as everyone between Ellory and Amsen have put him on the ground, weakened him from Kalvyn's spear, Ball just about midway through the arc over his head, the now silvered greatsword ignites in flames as he buries it into the stomach, sinking down into the ground beneath. The flames burned it as it gasped in and then immediately falls still. And as Ball pulls the blade from the stomach, the fire leaps over this divine radiant fire, burning and singeing the left arm of the standing werewolf as the stomach, the wound, kind of burns away with this singeing radiant light.
And then seeing that the rest of my not-so-hardy party members are being flanked by another one of these beasts, I'm going to turn around and try to get in the way. So I'm going to move to here, point my sword at it, and that'll be the end of my turn.
Okay. Shifting around, that will bring us up to Ezekiel.
Okay. I am gonna 5-foot shift to here. With my action, I will cast... Oh, nope, that's the wrong button. Moonbeam. The silvery ray of moonlight shines in that center, a 5-foot radius circle centered on that middle square there.
And it's a Dex or Con save, I can't remember, but he rolled a natural 1.
It's actually on the start of their turn.
Well, I'll keep that roll for him since I rolled it with that purpose in mind. But nonetheless, this radiant moonlight, this column beats down on top of him. You can see the hair beginning to stand up, and the werebear looking uncomfortable. Are you going to stay there? I believe that's your turn.
Yeah. Oh, bonus action, Shillelagh.
Okay. As the knots form, blooming, and that will bring us up to Vesper.
Okay. Vesper remembers that she has a shield that she just bought. I'm going to pull that out and post up. Then bonus action, I will cast Spiritual Weapon in between Meli and the orange one and attack with it.
Okay.
Which is bad for the first time today. That's an 8's not going to do it.
8 isn't, unfortunately. So you do conjure the spiritual weapon in front of Meli and this creature. It attempts to strike it, but it's quick. Even with several enemies bearing down on it, it moves hastily.
Okay.
And is that your turn, staying there?
Yeah, I'm going to hang out right there.
Okay, that will bring us up to this person's turn. Actually, that guy's dead. So, Meli, your turn.
I'm just going to Ray of Frost the monster in front of me again.
Okay. He'll have a little cover bonus from Ball, but not much.
Does 13 hit?
13 what?
So that is 14 points of damage.
Yeah, so you're able to just weave it around ball and able to shoot through the spiritual weapon into the face of this creature. The ice forms along its left cheek and the neck and shoulder on that side as it begins to growl in pain. And that will bring us up to Kalvyn.
Okay, so Kalvyn is gonna grip his holy symbol, and he will incoherent things about shadows needing to be lightened up with some holy light, and grip his holy symbol until it pierces his flesh, and take 1d8 point of damage. That's not too bad. I took 3 points. Okay, and I will, and thus giving me the sacred offering, adding my charisma modifier to my damage. And then, fueled with holy vengeance, he will stab forth with his holy shard and fuck this guy up. Let's see how it goes. That one doesn't hit.
What is it?
It was a 10.
Just missed us.
The next one's a 25.
That one definitely hits. So you just barely scrape past the stomach on the first strike as you whip it around. Second one driving it into his lower abdomen.
And I'm gonna dump another smite, but this time at level 2. Because why are we fucking around? It is... If we're splitting it up, it is 11 piercing and 9 radiant.
Okay. As you drive it into its abdomen, it takes its claws and wraps it around the spear as you drive it into its lower abdomen, catching it there. Anything else for your turn, Kalvyn?
No, I think I'm good where I am.
Okay. That will bring us up to this creature. The werebear, at the start of his turn, has to make a save, which he absolutely failed, as the radiant moonlight beams down.
So he takes 9 radiant damage, and he reverts to his original form.
Okay. So as this light beams down, you see it burning away as the matted, thick, light gray fur almost burns away, revealing flesh beneath. You see the 3 scar marks across his face as the fur is removed, and he slowly hunches, going from his over 6 foot size to about 5'10", but broad-shouldered man with a big, gray, bushy beard. A humanoid individual, completely nude at this point, as he looks around, both in shock, but in determination as well. So he is going to, first off, shift over to the right towards Kalvyn, and is going to try to wrap his arms around you, Kalvyn. So as you're driving, holding the spear in the abdomen of the werewolf, you look over your shoulder to see a nude, bearded man with a hairy chest come up behind you and try to grab you from behind, around the back of your head. Make an athletics or an acrobatics check to resist the grapple.
That's not cool, bro. Let's see here. That's a 19.
17. So as he wraps his arms around you, almost holding you tight, as the spear is pulled out and the other werewolf begins to try to rake its claws towards you, you flex and bow out, bucking out the arms around you, around your back. Pushing
Not today, dildo.
Pushing him back. And for the rest of his action, he's going to just try to punch you. Oh, no, he's going to try to trip you. This is what he's going to try to do. So make another athletics or acrobatics check. As he reaches down, trying to wrestle you, trying to grab towards your leg and lift, trying to put you on your back.
29.
Okay. So this time, 19, he grapples and pulls with the strength of a bear, but you're far stronger. He lifts your leg up for a couple inches before you slam it back down, slamming your elbow into his forehead, backing him off. He looks defeated and very nude. And that will bring us up to this other guy here, who's chilling, doing his thing. And he's going to attack Ball's a big target, but he's going to go for what he perceives to be the weakest. So he's going to move there.
Okay, take attack of opportunity.
Ball and Vesper would get attacks of opportunity.
An 11?
The 11 and 12 from Ball both hit.
For 12 piercing damage.
That'd be 6 slashing, and I think I will put Smite into it, because why not?
Okay.
So it'll be level 1 Smite, 14 radiant damage.
Jesus. Yeah, that was a dumb move in this part. So as he shifts around, moving, clawing and pushing his way towards Meli, going for the weakest prey, ball swings around, striking up its back as Vesper turns with her rapier and stabs into its side. It is reeling. And with a great sword in his shoulder, still hacking into it, and a rapier in his left side, it's going to try and claw towards Meli. Dirty 20 to hit.
Yeah, that is.
Okay. That is 9 slashing damage. And a 15 to bite.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm gonna cutting words of damage on this one.
4 piercing as the bite drives into you. Cut down to
Nothing, because I rolled a 4.
nothing.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it bites into your shoulder, Meli, but it gets nothing but cloth. As it pulls away, tearing away a bit of the cloth, but it gets nothing. And because it didn't do any damage, you don't have to make a Constitution saving throw. I'm going to roll. That's his turn. That's going to bring us to old Green Buddy, who's going to 5-foot shift here, standing over his dead, fallen comrade, whose stomach wound is still burning with the radiant energy ball killed it with, and is going to strike towards Kalvyn. At advantage because you're close. That is a 18 to hit.
Yeah, that's the money.
It's barely, as it claws in for 5 slashing damage. And it's going to go ahead and bite at advantage. And that is a 21 to hit. Dealing 5 piercing damage and make a Constitution saving throw.
15.
Okay. You shrug off this cold, curse-like effect on your shoulder. But you see almost, or the others see now off Kalvyn's shoulder, these purple, almost smoke, purple energy just faintly drifting off his shoulder where these bites are coming off of. Kalvyn, you shrug that off. That will bring us up to Ellory.
I would like to cast Scorching Ray with, I think, I'll send 2 rays towards the one that just attacked Kalvyn and 1 towards the nude man.
Okay. Go ahead and make attacks.
First is 19,
Hits.
25,
Hits.
and 11.
Just barely hits the nude man. So quickly,
Okay.
these flaming rays quickly drive twice into the werewolf next to Kalvyn and once into the nude man.
I'm losing my dice. So, for the one that just hit Kalvyn, that is pretty good. That is 17 points of fire damage. And towards the other one, 9.
Okay. You see as the first 2 rays slam into the werewolf fighting Kalvyn, you see the fur is scorched, burning, forming burnt scabs. This creature's looking very rough. As it's coughing up black blood and having a hard time standing. The nude man, surprisingly, takes the hit to the shoulder, but is shrugging it off. That will bring us up to... Are you going to say where we are, Ellory?
I was going to move, but not since the one that attacked Kalvyn shifted. He's in my way now.
Okay, that will bring us up to Amsen then.
Okay, so bonus action, I'm gonna first level healing word Kalvyn for 5.
Thank you, sir.
And then I'm gonna use Vicious Mockery on, let's say, the nude guy. Why not?
Not great. Yeah, no, that's 7.
Yeah, that fails. So I'm gonna say, what, is that all you've got? And look down at him.
Clearly
He
referencing
looks
his
down
junk.
at his nude physique, slightly embarrassed. His cheeks get red.
As he takes 6 points of psychic damage, and he has disadvantage on his next attack.
As he's trying to cover up his jump now. That will bring us up to Ball.
Is this considered flanking where I am?
You are flanking with Vesper.
Okay, so I'm going to do a booming blade attack.
You have advantage on the attack.
That's 25 to hit.
Hits.
For 9 slashing and for Thunder. And why not? I will also put another smite into him.
You notice as you bring the blade down, as it connects into its chest, there is a millisecond delay before there's a as if a thunderous cloud just rammed itself into a mountain in front of you. The werewolf goes flying back, knocking into Vesper before rolling to a stop next to the stump nearby. It's dead as hell.
Cool. And then, seeing Kalvyn's in a bit of trouble, I'm going to see if I can I run and jump, like, over them?
Yeah, give me an athletics check, since you have to jump. No running start, just literally jump straight into the air, and not run into the boughs of those trees.
22?
Okay, yeah. With that, you're able to leap into the air, grab one of the boughs, and using that to drive your momentum higher up. Meli, Ellory, and landing next to Kalvyn and the heavily wounded werewolf.
Perfect. And that's where I'm going to end my turn.
Okay, that brings us up to Ezekiel.
Okay. Also going to try and help Kalvyn, so I will 5-foot shift here. And then I will brush one of the brambles on my staff and cast Thorn Whip on the naked guy.
Okay.
So that should be... No, why did none of those numbers plug in? Just take this for the attack roll. 13?
13 hits.
Alright. So he takes 9 piercing damage, and he is pulled towards me.
Okay. As a thorny vine whips out from your shillelagh'd staff, wrapping around his waist, pulling him, dragging him across the moonlit ground right in front of you.
That's my turn.
Okay. That will bring us up here. 25 to hit Ellory.
Yeah, 25 will hit me.
Wait, what?
You take 26 points of piercing damage. That's into your stomach. You look down as there's an arrow pushed all the way towards just a small bit of black feather. You can feel the pain through you and hitting into the spine behind you as the blood begins to immediately spurt out.
Fuck.
Vesper, your turn.
Okay, I was spinning to cast at the werewolf, but seeing that, I kind of cry out in surprise, and I'm going to instead rush over and cast Cure Wounds on Ellory, just at first level, because I don't have that many spell slots right now, which is, damn it, 7. Back to you, sorry. Bonus action, I'm just going to swing the bow around and shoot at the werewolf.
Okay.
For a natural 18 plus 6, so a lot. For 7.
Okay. So as the arrow is in her stomach, you quickly rush over, field medic training taking over, pulling off, breaking off the feather part of the shaft. That's all you have time before as you slam your hand, curing the wound as best you can. As is, quickly the bow comes behind your back, slamming into this wolf who's now teetering, almost falling down, but still is struggling to breathe. And I believe that'll be your turn, bringing us up to Meli.
Did I see where that arrow came from?
So in general terms, it's came from somewhere north, because that's the direction of the arrow, but that's all you really have. It came somewhere from the north. But you do, Meli and the rest of you would know the arrow came somewhere from the north of this map.
Okay.
You can use your action to make a perception check to look into it, or investigation, but that's all you have in this split moment.
Then I will just scoot round Vesper that way. And then I'm going to hit the wolf that hit Kalvyn, and I'm going to shock and grasp it.
Okay. Lightning forming in your hand as you reach out.
Is she flanking? Like, are we flanking again here?
Meli, you are flanking Ball.
Sweet.
That's the boon for Ball being big. He's easy to flank, but he's also easy to give you flanking.
That's a 25.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 15 points of damage, and he can't take his reactions.
And he never will, because the lightning surges through him as he almost clamps up, unable to operate and perform his functions anymore, as he slowly Slowly his arms are pulled tighter from the lightning, singeing his flesh. Eventually, he coughs one last time before falling. A few sparks still driving across the body. And if that's it for you, Meli, that will bring us up to Kalvyn. And there is one nude man standing in a column of radiant light and a mysterious arrow from somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna stand underneath this beacon of light and just be like, don't you poke me, you naked man, and then I'm gonna poke you back.
I am going to scream out, judgment, and attack on this attack with my spear. It's a 15.
That hits.
Okay. Where's that? D8. That's a 14.
That'll hit as well.
Okay. Good gum drop. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to dump another level 2 smite into this as well.
Okay, and you can give me all the damage altogether as you step up yelling judgment. He turns to you and begins to say, fuck you, only gets halfway through the words as the spear drives into him.
A total of 40 damage.
Jesus. That's nuts. So you drive your spear into him. He grabs it and tries to slow it down, but you just drive it in further. The flame singeing, burning the weapon. As you see him suddenly look like he's not going to last much longer.
Then I'm going to shove him to the ground with my shield, because fuck you.
Okay. Whipping, whoosh, pulling the spear out, turning, spinning, slamming the shield into him.
29.
21. So you're able to slam it into him. It flies up into the air for a moment before slamming onto his back in the moonlight.
That's it.
Okay. That will bring us up to him. He's going to use half of his movement, his regular human movement, to stand up.
At the start of his turn, however, he has to make another Constitution save at disadvantage because he is a shape creature.
So that's a 4.
So he fails. 2d10. So he takes 6 radiant damage.
As he tries to get up, immediately it burns down on his flesh, singeing him. He does make it to his feet, however, and he begins to sprint off. Kalvyn and Ezekiel would get attacks of opportunity.
22.
Both of you.
Okay. 8 bludgeoning, and my staff is magical while it's shillelagh.
Okay, cracks him on the back of his head. He stumbles, but continues almost bear crawling over the stump as Kalvyn's spear.
17. I dumped another smite into that, but there's 17.
You hit him in the back of the calf as he kind of stumbles halfway on his stomach, halfway on all fours. Right there. He is going to, in this moment, you see him almost beginning to stand up to continue running. He stops just for a moment before he begins to look over his shoulder. As he turns around, stepping back onto the top of the stump here as the fur grows out once more, growing to the height of the former werebear form he once took. He's still heavily wounded, but he's not giving up. And that will bring us up to dead Ellory.
I will start by using my action to see if I can tell where that arrow came from.
So you can use your action to make an investigation check or a perception check.
Okay. I'm going to go with perception. That's pretty good. That's 22.
Looking around, from where the arrow came in as you're holding your stomach, you know it came from the north of the map. So you narrow it down to kind of a window, sort of a wedge that gets wider the further you get back. Probably straight northish, but you do not see anything. You see no movement. Because you're just, logically, it's probably came from straight north.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move just in front of Amsen, and I'm going to use 2 sorcery points to cast Scorching Ray again as a bonus action. One of them towards the naked man who's shifting again, and 2 in the direction that the arrow came from.
So go ahead and roll the first one for this guy in front of you.
That is 13.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll go ahead and roll the damage for that one. 6 fire damage. And then the other 2, I assume I would make it disadvantage.
You would ping on the map where you want to shoot.
I don't really know how far away it is, so I think I'm just gonna go for around this tree that's way at the edge of the map. I'm gonna head them that direction.
Okay, go ahead and roll both those at disadvantage.
So one of those is a 15, and the other is a 21.
Okay, so 2. The first one slams into the right side of the tree, knocking off some of the bark that begins to catch and light fire. The other one goes just past it, slamming into the bushes beyond. You see the bushes begin to catch fire. You don't hear any immediate reaction from anything.
All right. That's done. I am going to move back into this cluster.
Okay.
Because I'm still pretty low on health.
That brings us to Amsen.
Alright, so seeing Ellory being heavily wounded, I'm going to grab her arm as she's heading back towards the middle of the group, and I'm going to cast invisibility on her.
Okay.
And I will spend my movement heading west behind the nearest tree.
Okay.
And that will be my turn.
Okay, so quickly placing your hand on Ellory, she disappears as you sprint over to the left, changing directions. That will bring us up to Ball.
So I'm going to run. Is this like this a bush in front of me, or is that another tree?
That's a bush. It comes up about 3 or 4 feet. If you move through any of those squares, it's difficult terrain.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just try to move through it.
Yeah, you can kind of stomp.
I'll make sure not to go
away.
It's moonbeam because I don't feel like getting blown up.
We'll see what you really are.
Oh no. So once I get there, then Ball is going to see that this no longer naked man is trying to run away. And I'm going to cast Booming Blade.
Okay.
13?
13 will hit.
Okay, wow. For 6 slashing and 4 thunder damage.
Slamming your silver blade into the werebear's shoulder as the thunder erupts. You see it shrug, its shoulder almost look dislocated as these numerous wounds are bleeding out, but it remains standing.
Okay. And I think can't really do much else. I'm going to end my turn there.
Okay. That brings us up to Ezekiel.
All right. I am actually going to let Moonbeam drop. I can move it, but that's not how I want to spend my action. I think that is as far as I can get, trying to avoid things, and I'm also going to look for the creature with my action.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Not good. 9.
You look around listening. You hear the crackling of the fire that Ellory set with her blast, but you don't hear anything else.
Then for my bonus action, I'll do a quick healing word on myself. And that's my turn.
Okay. Coming back up. Vesper, you're on deck. Ezekiel will be a 27 to hit.
Yeah, that beats my AC by like 10.
You take 23 points of piercing damage as a arrow sinks deep under the left chitinous block of your armor. Simple black arrow.
Ow.
And that will bring us up to Vesper.
Okay. How bad does Kalvyn look?
I am not bloodied, but yeah.
Okay. And Meli?
I'm okay.
Okay. I'm going to run up here then, and I'm going to use my action to use my healer feat. And I'm going to pull out my healer's kit and start staunching Kalvyn's wounds. So you get 12. You get 12 back. Because 1d6 plus 4 plus your max hit die. And then with my bonus action, I can move the bow there and attack the werewolf with it.
She's a werewolf.
Which is a 25.
Yeah, so after healing, you turn as the bow is already on its way, standing forth, drawing back.
And that's 8 force damage.
And the force is enough to lift him off of the ground, flying through the air before coming to a rest and moving.
And then I'm just going to put my shield in front of myself and wait for the next arrow.
Meli?
I'm going to run up and try to do a perception check to see where that arrow comes from.
You can. That bush is going to be difficult terrain, but you can do a perception check. So you'll be able to you can probably get there in the bush.
Okay. I got an 11.
Okay. Listening, all you hear is just the crackling of the embers dying down from Ellory's fire spells.
Okay.
So, as you are searching for this creature that's firing arrows at you, hidden behind bushes and trees, we're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Next time on Back to the Story.
The werebear creature, when it died, it did not revert back. And you notice some of the wounds are beginning to burn with this purplish fire. It's almost streaming off like smoke energy from its wounds, and it seems to be getting brighter and brighter. You feel a mark on your chest before it hits, the mark of Duma, hexing you, marking you, as Ezekiel falls back, landing on the ground. Oh, shit.
For part 2 of this episode of Back to the Story, you can find it on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.